In this example, we're going to graph systems of inequalities. So step one is to focus on our first graph. And our first graph, as you can see, is the graph of the parent function. And what do we do to that parent function with the -1 in the back of the function? Well, if you said that there was a vertical shift and that we shifted down 1 unit, then you are absolutely correct. What else do we notice there? Well, you should have also noticed that in terms of the line, you're going to use a solid line. Notice there's a line underneath. The other thing you may have noticed is that with the boundary method, since it's solved for y, which region are we going to shade? Upper or lower? That's right, upper. Anytime it's greater than, you have to shade upper. All right, so we have everything that we need to graph this line. Let's go ahead and get this graph done. So we're going to use a solid line, and it's going to be the parent function that shifted down 1 unit. All right, there's our parabola. Now we have to decide whether we're going to shade upper or lower, and we've already established that we're going to shade upper, and that's going to be right up above the parabola. And there you have it. There is our graph. Next, we're going to move on to our second graph. And in the second graph, now this is not the quadratic. It's not a parabola because you don't have the squared term there. It's just x by itself. And then you have y over here. So this is a linear function. So it's going to be a straight line. And it's that identity function, the one that just goes diagonally right through to the point there of origin. Now this is just a rough sketch. My line there is very crooked, but the bottom line is that's the parent. Now with that 1 in the back, what did we do to that parent function? Yes, you're correct. We shifted up 1 unit. So this graph is going to move up 1 unit. And what type of line are we going to sketch? I'm going to go ahead and start erasing. You can tell me what type of line we're going to sketch. Is it dash or solid? If you said solid, that is correct, because notice you see that or equal to line underneath, which means you sketch a solid line. So let's go ahead and get our line on the screen. Now keep in mind you could also use the slope-intercept method of step 1, plot the y-intercept, which is at 0, 1, and you have a slope of 1, so you would rise up 1 and run 1. So again, you would step 1, plot the y-intercept, and then from there you would rise up 1 and run 1. So your line would be right there, moved up 1 unit. All right, so now that we have our line, our last step then is to determine whether we're going to shade the upper region above the red line or whether we're going to shade below the red line. Now our line is solved for y. Y is isolated, so we can use the boundary method. Notice it says less than or equal to. Anytime you have that, remember you're going to shade below. So automatically we're going to shade below the line. That's where our solution lies. So now we're looking for that part where they overlap. And so once you erase everything else and just keep just the overlapping part, because that's your solution. If you leave all of the shading up when you do your homework in my math lab, it's going to tell you it's wrong. You have to erase everything but just leave the solution, and it should look like so. When you're done, this is what your solution should look like. And there you have it.